It is I, the scribe of the purple ink, and I am here to become the best in my craft, to fulfill my trials, and to win the favor of my queen. Or something like that, I guess. Hello beautiful bookworms, my name is Katarina and welcome to my channel, and today I am pre-filming a very excited video which is basically my TBR for the Book Junkie Trials. And the Book Junkie Trials is a readathon that was planned by Rachel Marie Book Junkie, and I'm going to leave her channel down below, and also the channel of all of the people that participate and co-host this readathon, and they will explain to you way better than me what it is and what's about. But basically it's a set of trials and you have to read a book for each trial as a normal readathon, and if you win, you win. If you don't, you don't. And you know me, I'm a typical Ravenclaw, so I'm going for all of the challenges. I am going to die. So for this specific readathon, which will take place in the entirety of the month of July, basically you have, I believe, 4 teams, and my team is the Scribes. So obviously that's me. I was very happy to have been a part of that team. Also, Sophisticated Books, or rather Sophie from Sophisticated Books, is the leader of my team, so I couldn't be happier. And I want to win this. I want to read as many books as possible. I want to win the favor of my queen, and I want to have special abilities for the next year, I believe, when the readathon will take place again. So I'm in love with this readathon, and I knew that I had to participate in it, and here I am doing a TBR for you guys. So I just want to preface this by saying that there's currently construction happening on my building, so I'm very sorry if you can hear drilling, because it happens and there's no other way that I can film this if not for now. So let's just pretend that you're not hearing the drilling, and I'm going to try to scream over it, which I'm already doing, and my throat is hurting, but who cares? So Yeezies, come and see my TBR for the Book Junkie Trials. And if I look that way, is because all of the challenges I wrote them in there, so you know the drill. Let's just get into it. So for this readathon, I will have to read, if I want to complete the entirety of the quest, 17 books. So as a normal person, I am not able to read, I wish I could, but I'm not able to read 17 books, physical, like 500 plus pages books in a readathon. So what I'm going to do is introduce manga, comics, graphic novels, and then books. But I will not be doing it easy for myself, because every team has their abilities and their weaknesses, and basically the ability that the Scribes have are to read a book that is not declared in their TBRs. I am not going to use my ability because I'm already reading manga and graphic novels, so I feel like it will be unfair to just change all of a sudden a book of my TBR. So if all goes well, I will not use my ability, which will penalize me, and so there will be no problem for me to use. You know what I mean? So I'm not cheating that. And my weakness is that I have to read at least one book over 500 pages. So I have one, but I have only one, but I have a lot of books to read. You know what I mean? So technically I'm not cheating at this, and I hope that I can fulfill this. Even with manga and graphic novels, I might not be able to, but I really want to think that I will. So without further ado and without chit-chatting anymore, let's just get into the thing. So the first prompt is Crimson Peaks, and for that one it is reread a favorite. And I chose Gloom Cookie Volume 1, and this is by Serena Valentino, I believe. Yeah, and Ted Nafis. And basically this is a gothic tale of unrequited love, of monsters and princesses and beauty and darkness and ugliness and gargoyles, and is really amazing. And this is the only one that I've actually read. I still have the entirety of the rest of the graphic novels to read. This is a graphic novel, by the way. Really pretty, really beautiful. I love it. So I decided to reread it for this one, and that way I can read the others and finish the series. So it was great. The next prompt is Quindom Stone, a book featuring royalty, and for that one I chose Gloom Cookie Volume 2. This one is again by Serena Valentino, but the artist is John Jebbia, each and every book the artist changes, and basically I cannot explain you really why, but there's people that can be said to belong to royalty. I cannot tell you because it is sort of a plot point of the first book, and if you read it, it will become a spoiler for the rest of the books. But yeah, it is there. There's many types of royalty, let's just say that. And again, beautiful art, and I really want to read it, so that's the case. The next prompt is The Forgotten Forest, the next in a series, and for that one I chose Children of the Whales Volume 7 by Abby Humeda. Yeah, I don't know if you can see, but Volume 7 is there. So I've been reading this manga series, and this is the next one that I have to read, so it fits the prompt perfectly, and it's a gorgeous little manga, so I hope I can get to it. The next one is The Weeping Falls, Read a Tearjerker, and for that one I chose Children of the Whales Volume 8, again by Abby Humeda, because basically, if you don't know, this is the story of this society that lives in sort of kind of mud island that goes around in the sea. And one day, like, they don't know why they're there, and that's been their home all the time. And there's a lot of people that die young because of a supposed power that they have, which is by itself already sad. But then one day they are approached by the government and they try to kill them. There's a lot of death, there's a lot of painful things, and I normally shed 1 or 2 tears in each volume, so I'm not thinking that this one is going to be different with a cover like this and a back like the one that I read, so I'll probably cry. So the next 4 are specific challenges for scribes, but of course I will be doing them as well, not only because it's my team, but because I really want to do them all. And the first one is Dwarf Mount, book with a hint of a romance, and for that one I chose Gloom Cookie Volume 3, Broken Curses. This one is by Serena Valentino and also by Brihan Burns, and Stop Drilling on My Ceiling. And suffice to say that the main characters have this unrequited sort of love. They cannot be together. I don't know how it transverses to the entirety of the series because I have not read it, but I know that there's a hint of romance, and what could be better than tragic romance? I mean, nothing. The next challenge for the scribes and for myself is Apothecary Towers. Choose a book at random from your bookshelf. And the one that I chose, I actually did a thing. I could not film it because it took a lot of time and I was having trouble editing it for some reason, but I actually put all of my mangas around me, not the ones that were already series, so not the volume 3 of something that I hadn't started, but I put all of the volumes that I could actually read and in a circle, and then I picked them with my eyes blindfolded. And the one that came out was The Girl from the Other Side, Volume 6, which is kind of cool because I was really expecting to get to this very soon because I don't want to forget the rest of the series and I really want to read it. This is basically a nostalgic, sort of tragic manga series by Nagabe, and basically it's about the inside and the outside. The people on the inside live a medieval life and they're very scared of the outside because if they are touched by these sorts of creatures, they are cursed and they turn into these creatures and they forget who they are and they're no longer humans. And the possible solution for that situation is this little girl, which is the only one that is not affected by the curse, and she walks around with the teacher, which is this monster, and they are trying to understand everything in their world, and it's just beautiful, amazing, very sad as well, but really gorgeous. The next one, also a scribe challenge, is The Great Library, a book that has been on your TBR forever. And for this one, I chose to use my weakness on that one. This one is going to be Vengeful by V.E. Schwab, which has not been on my TBR since I was born or anything, but it has been on my TBR since it came out. And I had a lot of trouble getting it because I pre-ordered this copy and it never came until April or something, and since April, because I was doing my Owls readathon, which is another thing entirely, I couldn't read this, and in May I couldn't read this because I was reading Grishaverse, and in June I am not reading this, so fuck it, it had to be in July. And because this one has 575 pages, if I'm not mistaken, this one completes my weakness. I have to read a book with 500 plus pages. Here it is. You all know what Vengeful is. I'm not going to tell you. I hope I love it. So for the next prompt and the end of the scribe prompts is The Drowning Deep, a world with rich world building. And for this one, I chose the first series of the Lady Mechanica comics. And if you don't know, Lady Mechanica is basically a steampunkish sort of world in which this girl, I believe, I've never read this, so do not take my word seriously, but I believe that she is sort of like a robotic sort of android creature. So she was human, I think, but everything in her was replaced by mechanic parts, like her legs and her arms and something, I'm not sure. So the first Lady Mechanica series goes from volume 0 to volume 5. So these are the ones that I'm going to read for this prompt because the world building of steampunk is always really amazing. If you don't know what steampunk is, it's sort of like this world where you have a lot of motors and a lot of weapons, a lot of everything. Can you see like Victorian London, but with this specific design, like the era of vapor, goggles, everything like that. So it's always amazing if done correctly, which I believe it is because my boyfriend has been telling me to read this since forever, and if he loves it, and he's a great lover of steampunk, if he loves it, it's because it's great. So world building, you know, reading this first series, I'm going to read, I have to say that I could have used just one of the comics for this challenge because it's something that is on Goodreads and that I could read, but I decided to, people not telling me like you're cheating, you're reading not as much as you should. I am reading the first 5 books, so the first series of the Lady Mechanica. So I'm reading more than one comic, just so you don't get picky. Oh, I forgot to say, this is by Benitez and Stigervold. Stigervold? Gosh darn it. Gosh fucking darn it. I don't know how to say that. So after that, we have Orc Grove, a book that is gruesome, gory, or gritty. And for that one, I chose Fire Punch Volume 1. This one is by Tatsuki Fujimoto. And first of all, you can see there the explicit content. It's not for porn. It's for aggressiveness. Second of all, you're seeing this cover. This is a man being burned alive consistently. Third of all, this begins with a village where people eat other people. So if you feel like that's not gritty and gruesome enough, I have other picks, but I would prefer to go with this one. Next is Old Pirate Cove, and that is a book that takes part, at least one of its part is in the sea. And for that one, I chose Children of the Whales Volume 9, again by Abi Yumeda. You can really tell that I want to finish this series, can't you? But as I told you, this is set on an island, sort of like a mud boatish island that crosses the sea. So it's basically all set in the sea. It's the prompt. I don't make the rules. The next prompt is Glimmer, a beautiful or colorful, Jesus, cover. And for that one, I chose Glim Cookie Volume 4 called The Carnival Wars. And if you don't think that this is beautiful, you have no goth in your soul. Okay? And I know that I'm dressing green, but it's dark green and I have black underneath. Okay? I love this. And it's sort of a cemetery kind of look. This is gorgeous. And the artist, the writer is still Serena Valentino and the artist is Arley Sparks. And fucking gorgeous. I don't know what to tell you. The next prompt is Draconic Island, a book that features dragons. And for this one, I have to say I took some liberties because I had no fucking book that had specific actual dragons. So what I decided to do is read Uprooted by Naomi Novik. And if you know anything about Uprooted, you know that the main wizard in Uprooted is called a dragon. That's his name. So supposedly it has dragons. It was never specified if the dragon could be human or not human, or if it had to be a supposed type of dragon. So it's a dragon. And also, in the back of my edition of Uprooted, focus, goddamn you, these are dragons. I know what I'm saying. If you want, I'll send you pictures, okay? They are real. I know, I'm seeing it with these eyes. Pretty much everyone knows what Uprooted is about, but it's basically about this village that is being threatened by the woods, and the dragon takes a girl to help him push the woods back. And I think it's going to be very interesting. It's not very big, but it is a book. So yeah, I decided to read it. The next is The Elven Guard, a book with war, military, or political themes. And I chose Fire Punch Volume 2 by Tatsuki Fujimoto, which I already showed the first one in this TBR. And this basically, if you read the back and if you read the inside, it has war themes because the village of the previous book will be annihilated for political situations. As well, it has military development and deployment, and I felt like it will be fitting of the theme. I hope so. If not, I will have to use my ability to read other book, but I believe that this one will be the thing. The next prompt, if I wrote it correctly, is On the Hello Isle, and basically it's an atmospheric or a horror book. And for this one, I chose a middle grade horror, which is not as typical as you would think, and a lot of people have been very, very upset that this is considered middle grade and are pleading for Goodreads to actually consider it YA because it's fairly spooky for children, which I hope it is because I love a horror book. And that is The Feathered Men by Jeremy the Quint. This is basically the story of this young kid, which is an orphan kid, and he is an assistant to ripping teeth out of cadavers. This man that does it for some reason. And when they're analyzing a cadaver, there's something inside of the teeth of the cadaver, a diamond. And basically that doctor steals it and demands secrecy of the boy. And but there's a creepy woman that gave them the body for some reason, and they did not suspect that she was the killer. I mean, that's fine, but for some reason she really wants the diamond that was in that man's tooth. So yeah, basically the kid finds out the diamond is with him. I don't know if this is magical realism, fantasy, or something else. Oh, the alarm of the book. Well, you are going to the trash, my friend. There you go. Okay, as I was saying, he discovers that he's in possession of the diamond and she starts to go after him. And basically there is an actual shadow man called the Featherman. And I don't know how he connects to all of this, but he will, and it's creepy, so I want to read it. This was also nominated for the Carnegie Medal, so I'm hoping this is good. The next prompt is Empty Barrel, In or Indulgent Read, and for that one, I decided to read the rest of the collection of the Lady Mechanica series. So it starts with the Tablet of Destinies, and this one has 6 volumes, and then it has a lot of extra volumes and a new series that is actually coming out, or just finished coming out, something like that. And I am going to read all of this, so that you don't say that I'm only reading comics and that's why I won. No, I'm kidding. I'm not going to win for sure, but at least I'm trying, okay? And this sounds really fun, and it's an indulgent read because I really want to read it, so yeah. And next prompt is Giant Squid, a Fearsome Fellow, book that intimidates you. And for that one is going to be Gloom Cookie Volume 5, The Final Curtain, which is the final Gloom Cookie volume. As I told you, I love the first volume, and I have pretty much the idea that I'm going to love the entirety of the series, but a finale for me can be the thing that fucks the series. That can be the thing that will destroy the series completely. And so I am really, really excited and at the same time really fearful of reading the final volume of Gloom Cookie. Especially because I'm going to be reading all of them for this readathon, so it's going to be a month filled with Gloom Cookie, and I'm afraid that I will not enjoy the ending. I hope so. This one is by Serena Valentino and Vincent Patignoli. So, 2 Italian authors, I believe. I don't know, but probably it's going to be good. I don't know. I hope so. Yeah. And the last book that I'm going to have to read is Bookish Grail, the group book, which is Stardust by Neil Gaiman. So I read Stardust when I was really, really young, and I remember not enjoying it for some stupid reason because I have a problem with Neil Gaiman's books. I love them, or I like them, but I don't like them. And I'm going to explain this really quickly. I have read American Gods. I absolutely love the writing style and all of the plot, but I hate the main character with such a passion that I could not enjoy the book to its fullest. So I had a problem with that one. Then I read The Graveyard Book and I absolutely adored it. I have not read Sandman, but I have a feeling that I will love it. And yeah, so I believe that I did not enjoy Stardust, first of all because I was very, very young, and some of the things that Neil Gaiman guards for adult readers in his middle grade books, sometimes it could have skipped me. Although I was a smart child, I would not like to think that I was stupid and couldn't get it, but maybe I couldn't get it, you know? I am not that smart. And second of all, I think the main character, which I believe it's called Tristan, if I am correct, wasn't that great for some reason. I don't remember why I think this, but I think I thought this, if you know what I mean. So yeah, I am probably going to hear this on audiobook for the first time in my life, hearing an audiobook, because I have no way to get it before the readathon starts. And I do believe that Rachel Marie found a way for us to have a free trial of an audio something, and Stardust is there. So I really want to read this to finalize the readathon and to actually be able to participate with all of you guys. So yeah, I hope it's available when I get to it, and I hope I enjoy it the second time around, because there's stuff that I don't remember. I really love the movie, but I don't know, I don't know. We will see. So that's going to be all for this TBR. I hope that you guys enjoyed it. I hope that you guys participate, because this was really, really fun to film. It's going to be really, really fun to complete. I feel like I'm actually doing a quest, you guys, and what could possibly be better than an RPG? You know what I mean? Nothing. Okay, so that's going to be all for today. If you guys know any of the books that I talked about, please don't spoil me, but just tell me if you love them or not. If you're going to read some of them, or if your TBR is going to be different, tell me in which team you are, and I hope that you enjoyed this video. And yeah, happy readings to you all, everyone, and happy readings in July. I'm not sure if I'm going to post this before July or in the first week of July, because in the last week of June I will be away, so I'll not be able to post anything on the channel. We will see. So yeah, that's going to be it for today, and happy readings to you all. Bye bye.